In the Power Rangers franchise, there are many special Rangers and there are others that are just very different from the rest. This is not going to be a top, this is going to be a list of the Rangers that I find most out of the ordinary, and I am going to include them because of their costume, colors, specialties, powers, weapons, or something else that makes them different from the other Rangers. We know that this list could be very long, and that's why I'm only going to choose 10 Rangers, and I want you to write in the comments the Rangers that you think should be in this list. Remember that, since this is not a top list, it won't matter the position in which I name each Ranger, since this is not going to have a specific order. Number 1, the Omega Ranger from SPD. This Ranger comes from the future, and already this makes him very different from the vast majority of Rangers in the entire franchise. In addition to this, he possesses incredible abilities, such as super speed. The history of this Ranger is very deep, and his arrival in SPD made a big change in that season. This Ranger's costume stands out very well and is considered as a 6th Ranger officially. Although we have had the Omega Rangers from the comics, the reality is that the first Omega Ranger in the franchise is this one from SPD. Number 2, the Shadow Ranger from SPD. If we are going to talk about this season, then we can't leave out of this list the Shadow Ranger, which has become one of the most famous Rangers in the franchise. This Ranger is so different from the others that he belongs to another planet and physically looks like a dog. This is something quite rare and even difficult to explain to other people who are not Power Rangers fans. In addition to this, he is the mentor of the Rangers, and his costume is one of the most original Power Rangers costumes. Number 3, Tommy Oliver as the White Ranger in Mighty Morphin and the Black Ranger in Dino Thunder. We all know that Tommy has always been a very special Ranger, but the reality is that his White Ranger and Black Ranger versions are the most special versions he has. Maybe Tommy is better known for his Green Ranger version, but I think he is more special in the 2 versions I already mentioned. As a White Ranger we could see many new moves, and he also uses one of the most special weapons of the whole franchise, Saban, a living sword that has a great power. In the Black Ranger version of Dino Thunder something very similar happened. The new powers he got were spectacular, and his new abilities left everyone impressed. Besides this, we must accept that Dino Thunder's costume is one of the best in history, and his weapon is too. Number 4, Zido in his version of Zenith Ranger in Cosmic Fury. We all know that Zido is a very special Ranger because of everything he accomplished, and at the end of his story he became a Morphin Master, something no other Ranger could achieve. Despite this, the version that made Zido become a very outstanding Ranger was when he became the Zenith Ranger. We must remember that this happened since he used the white suit, so we must talk about that suit and the other strange color he later used, since it is the same type of Ranger. Zido's participation as Zenith Ranger was very remarkable since he used a different power and could control the staff of the Morphin Masters, so this is already something quite impressive. Number 5, the Phantom Ranger from Power Rangers Turbo. Although in the TV series we did not have so much information about this Ranger, in the comics we were able to learn more about his story, and we must say that it is one of the most impacting stories that a Ranger has ever had. The knowledge that this Ranger has of the grid is impressive, and everything he has been able to achieve in his life is very important. He has a rather strange costume, but one that at the same time is very different from any other Power Ranger's costume. Despite all these things, the most remarkable thing about the Phantom Ranger is that his body is made of pure grid energy, something that makes him very different from all the other Rangers in the story. Number 6, Magna Defender from Power Rangers Lost Galaxy. I think we are all going to have this Ranger on every list of special or noteworthy Rangers, and he has everything it takes to stand out in any team. This is one of the strangest Rangers, and this includes his costume, his abilities, his personality, and his weapon. We know that this Ranger's power was used by 2 people, but I think both versions are still just as special. The style of this Ranger is what gets him on this list, as it is what makes him so different and original. Number 7, Solaris Knight from Power Rangers Mystic Force. This Ranger wears one of my favorite costumes and also has one of my favorite powers. What I like the most about this Ranger is that he can be in any team, and he will always stand out because he is so different and original. This Ranger is so special that even though he has a human appearance, he is an ancient mystic warrior, a master, and he is also the 6th Ranger of the team. This Ranger is possibly one of the most complete Rangers of the entire franchise and one of the best Rangers of all time. Despite all these virtues, I think the writers could have made better use of his power, since the sun is not a simple energy, and I think they could have made him more powerful. Number 8, the Wolf Warrior from Power Rangers Mystic Force. If we are talking about Rangers that stand out, then we can't leave out of this list the Wolf Warrior from the Mystic Force. This Ranger is so awesome that he managed to stand out as a hero, but he also stood out a lot as a villain. To be honest, one of the things I like the most about this Ranger is his style and his costume, because despite using the wolf as his animal, in reality his theme is that of a medieval knight. Obviously we could notice this in his version as a villain, since even his name said it, but when he became one of the good guys, then he was no longer named as a knight, but his style was still the same. Number 9, Robo Knight from Power Rangers Megaforce. This Ranger is one of the few robots that have become a Ranger and is one of the most special in this category. Despite being a robot, he managed to understand human emotions and also made several sacrifices to save others. Besides this, we must admit that his appearance is spectacular, and he is one of the best robots in existence. This Ranger is so special that despite being a robot he managed to become a 6th Ranger, something that to achieve it he must be a very different Ranger from the rest of the team. Something that makes him stand out is his great memory. Since he was built several centuries ago, he has memory of everything that has happened during all that time, and this makes him very different from everyone else. Number 10, Hunter and Blake from Power Rangers Ninja Storm. I must admit that one of the things that made me put these 2 Rangers on this list were their very unique and original costumes. It is for this very reason that I put them together on this list, as they both have very similar costumes, and their colors are unique. In Hunter's case, the color of his costume is very different, and there is only one other Ranger with a costume that has a similar color, Blaze from Beast Morphers, but he is a villain. In Blake's case, he is the only Ranger in the entire franchise to use that dark blue color, and although there are many Blue Rangers, none use a blue as dark as that. His costumes are so outstanding that some artists have created modern illustrations with these same costumes, and we can notice how impressive they look. Write your list in the comments, like this video and subscribe to be special in Power Rangers.